in the 90s felt like being part of a secret club. We all knew the passwords. We quoted Wednesday Addams at lunch, whispering, "I put a spell on you," every time the lights flickered. We even dared each other to watch Pennywise in the storm drain. These weren't just movies for us, they were rites of passage. They shaped October, shaped us, and honestly, still shape every Halloween night I have now. So let's crack open the vault. 12 classics that built our spooky season. Number 1. Double Toil and Trouble.
Before Halloween, a day of spells and superstition, a day of witches and wizards.
If you were alive in '93, you couldn't escape the Olsen twins. They were everywhere. And on Halloween, they gave us double Toil and Trouble. Tiny witches in velvet capes, clutching sparkly amulets like the fate of the world was in their hands. Cloris Leachman played both the sweet aunt and the wicked one, which honestly felt like every grandma after too much wine. The whole movie had that cozy TV energy. Not scary, but sprinkled with just enough magic to make you feel like you were part of the spell. We watched it for the witches, but let's be honest, half of us were just trying to copy Mary-Kate and Ashley's costumes for school the next year. Number 2. The Addams Family. The Addams Family wasn't just a movie. It was aesthetic galore. Black lace, candlelight, and Morticia's eyes glowing like she was always in on the joke. Wednesday Addams became the ultimate 90s mood. Deadpan stare, braided hair so tight it could cut glass, and zero patience for anyone's nonsense. Gomez and Fester dancing the mamushka was pure chaos, pure joy. And somehow, it all made creepy feel elegant. Kids like me who showed up to picture day in black outfits owe it to this movie. It gave us permission to be weird, to make creepy cool, and to wear our eyeliner way too thick for middle school. But if the Addams Family made weird look glamorous, the witches reminded us that glamour can turn terrifying in seconds. Number 3. The Witches. The Witches is hands down in the top 3 of the spookiest movies of the 90s. It was childhood trauma in VHS form. That seaside hotel felt harmless enough. Fancy guests, chocolate bars on the table, kids running around like it was summer break. And then Angelica Houston ripped off her face. The Grand High Witch reveal was equal parts mesmerizing and nightmare fuel. Every time this movie was on, you could feel the whole room freeze. Some of us screamed, some pretended not to, but every single one of us slept with a nightlight after that. And the rules stuck in our heads. Witches hate children. They hide in wigs. Their shoes pinch because of claws. We swore our substitute teacher might have been one. And if your grandma wore black gloves, forget it. Honestly, the witches scared us, but it crowned us too, because surviving the film felt like a badge. And after that, we craved a ghost who wasn't out to kill us. Number 4. Casper, 1995. After the nightmares the witches gave us, Casper felt like a blanket fresh out of the dryer. Whipstaff Manor creaked and groaned like every haunted house should, but at the center was this sweet little ghost who just wanted a friend. Christina Ricci carried the whole thing with that perfect mix of sass and heart, and then there was the dance. Casper turning human for a few minutes, whispering, "Can I keep you?" before floating away again. Half the girls in my class had a crush on Devon Sawa because of that moment. The other half wouldn't admit it. Casper wasn't just a spooky season movie. It was the first ghost story that made us cry a little. But cozy ghosts don't last forever. Next stop, a Halloweentown we all secretly wanted to move into. Number 5. Halloweentown. By the late 90s, Disney Channel owned October. And when Halloweentown dropped, it felt like they built an entire world just for us. Debbie Reynolds as Grandma Aggie strolling through that pumpkin-filled square, iconic. The skeleton taxi driver cracking jokes like he was your weird uncle, even better. It had that made-for-TV charm. A little campy, a little clunky, but pure magic. And admit it, you wanted to live there. To step off the school bus and find yourself surrounded by witches, goblins, and neon Halloween banners instead of math homework. St. Helens, Oregon still throws Halloweentown festivals today. And honestly, if you grew up with this movie, that trip is still on your bucket list. But for every cozy pumpkin town, there's a darker Salem night. and 3 sisters plotting their big comeback. Number 6, Hocus Pocus.
And practice a little witchcraft. If they could only get it right.
She did it!
Hocus Pocus.
No 90s Halloween list works without Hocus Pocus. The Sanderson sisters didn't just steal kids, they stole the whole decade. We loved Kathy Naomi riding that vacuum like it was the coolest broom on sale. Even Bette Midler strutting through Salem like it was Broadway singing "I Put a Spell on You" was such an iconic experience. It was campy, it was funny, and it was weirdly timeless. Released in the summer of '93, it barely made noise in theaters, but on TV reruns, it became a cult obsession. By the time you were old enough to quote it, amok, amok, amok was already burned into your brain. And while the Sandersons had us laughing, another 90s Halloween classic made us side-eye every teacher in the building. Number 7, The Faculty, 1998.
And scary. A thrilling ride from beginning to end. The Faculty.
The Faculty was the moment every hallway in school felt suspicious. After watching this classic, you'd start to notice the weirdest things, like your teacher being a little too quiet or your coach being a little too intense. The cast list was insane. Selma Hayek as the nurse, Famke Janssen as the shy teacher, and even Jon Stewart before The Daily Show. And that soundtrack, pure late 90s angst. Robert Rodriguez gave us a high school version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, with Josh Hartnett rocking that spiky hair every kid tried to copy. Watching it back now, it's cheesy fun. But at the time, it made every substitute teacher feel like they were hiding a monster under their skin. And just when aliens started freaking us out, horror went back to basics with a movie that made you scream in the street. Number 8, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Hot off the success of Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer turned a small coastal town into a nightmare. A group of teens, one terrible accident, and a fisherman in a slicker who never forgot. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Ryan Phillippe were basically the MTV cast of our dreams. But the moment everyone remembers, Jennifer spinning in the middle of the street screaming, "What are you waiting for?" at the sky. Pure melodrama, pure perfection. It wasn't just a slasher, it was teen soap energy colliding with horror, and it gave us a villain so simple that you swore every shadow on a foggy pier was out to get you. But while fishermen hunted teens, witches in plaid skirts made the weird kids the coolest kids in school. Number 9, The Craft, 1996. The Craft was the movie that made witchcraft feel like an after-school hobby. 4 girls in plaid skirts and combat boots walking down the hallway in slow motion like they owned it. Robin Tunney, Veruza Balk, Neve Campbell, and Rachel True turned outsider status into straight-up power. And then that line, "We are the weirdos, mister." It was a battle cry for every kid who never fit in. Sleepovers turned into seances, with candles stolen from the kitchen and someone always whispering, "Light as a feather, stiff as a board." Nobody floated, but the drama felt real enough. The Craft wasn't just spooky. It was stylish, dangerous, and gave the 90s its ultimate teen witch aesthetic. Number 10, Practical Magic, 1998.
Nicole Kidman. Practical Magic.
If The Craft was teenage rebellion, Practical Magic was what happened when witches fell in love, broke hearts, and still had to deal with small-town gossip. Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman played sisters you wished were your own, stirring potions one moment, blasting Stevie Nicks, and drinking midnight margaritas the next. That Victorian house by the sea looked like it was built from pure daydreams. And while the movie gave us spells, ex-boyfriends, and danger, it also gave us sisterhood that felt unshakable. Watching it back, the romance is sweet, the magic is haunting, but it's the family bond that makes this movie live rent-free in our heads every October. But just as Practical Magic softened the edges, one phone call and one mask flipped horror on its head. Number 11, Scream.
Suspect! You're not scared, are you?
Scream.
By 1996, the horror genre was starting to get phased out from the big screens. But then Scream picked up the phone and changed everything. Drew Barrymore's opening scene was one of the most brutal opening scenes of any movie in the 90s, and it was brilliant. Wes Craven didn't just give us a new killer, he gave us Ghostface, a villain who knew the rules and mocked them while gutting teenagers. And the cast, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, turned meta horror into the coolest thing to quote at lunch. It was scary, funny, and way too clever for its own good. Scream was proof that the horror genre was very much alive and still deserving of the big screen. Number 12. Stephen King's It. Before clowns became the norm at kiddies' birthdays, the It movie made them the stuff of nightmares. The miniseries ran on TV, which meant parents thought it was safe, but those photo albums bleeding and balloons popping in empty libraries said otherwise. We watched parts 1 and 2 with all the lights on, and just like the Losers Club, we swore we weren't scared. Total lie. Pennywise's grin lived in every gutter we walked past. It wasn't just horror, it was a sleepover legend. The story you retold at school even though you knew you'd dream about it later. Tim Curry really outdid himself with this one. So yeah, these weren't just movies, they were our Halloweens. The VHS stacks on the coffee table, the popcorn that always burned a little, the sleepovers where someone swore they weren't scared and screamed the loudest anyway. If you grew up in the 90s, these films weren't just entertainment, they were October. So tell me, which one lived in your VCR every year? Was it Hocus Pocus on repeat, or Pennywise haunting your dreams? Drop your memory in the comments, and if you want more trips back to the best decade ever, hit subscribe. We're just getting started.